whoever's office in Zimbabwe and other places. I was like, these people are just like me. These black people running their own affairs. They're running their show. What are we doing? So those things was entered into my subconscious. So when I had an epiphany to come back to America, I said, look, it's nation time. I got to go back and put that on the agenda. Really push for it. Not just say I'm a nation, but really push for nationhood. Because that's the only solution, as I would discuss with the comrades there in Zimbabwe and elsewhere. Now, these were people who actually went to war with the white man. Zimbabwe is the only country that really went to war with white folks and won. They had to go, had to submit, and Britain called their buddies who were colonized Zimbabwe to the table. And so they actually had to submit to their authority. But these guys put into my head, look, man, self-determination, which is self-government, is the only thing that's going to get justice for anybody, no matter who you are. It's self-determination, self-government. So I decided to come back and put nationhood on the agenda. And so I came back, and here I am pushing the black independence agenda. Did you want to say something, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, we noticed today that there in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and those in that mindset of the third few demanded the white man to leave the land, leave them their reparations and whatever is owed to the Africa. Those who have raped them, especially South Africa for so long, are being asked to leave. Is that right?
Yes, you know, everything is bound to happen one day or another. You can't keep justice sleep forever. You got to wake up, and part of that wake up may involve violence, because people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And
you got to get closer to the mic, brother Ramzu.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Brother Akbar. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. You just get a little bit closer to the mic. You go ahead.
Yeah, yes. I got the mic right up to my mouth. But yes, you know, it's
now you're doing good. You right in there now.
Yeah, it's about that time. You can't just stand on the people's neck forever. They're gonna rise up, and part of beating somebody up, if you don't kill them, they get stronger while you're beating them. You know, like when you lift weights, you're beating your body up. If you don't kill your body's gonna adapt to that weight and get stronger. You know, it rebels back by getting stronger. And so the people naturally going to rebel sooner or later. So especially when the ruling class, the new elite, which were the ANC people, Mandela and his comrades became the new elite. So they still let the white folks control the economy, while a few of the top ranking people got some play, you know, some inroads and some business ownership and so forth and so on. But the masses of the people remain poor. But you know, but sooner or later you got people rising up, like the youth leader from the ANC who split from the ANC named Julius Malema, split from them, and then started the economic freedom fighters, and you know, and they pushed the agenda to look, let's live up to our charter. We originally started fighting so that we can rule the land upon which we live. We can't still say we are presidents and so forth, and white folks still control 80% or 90% of the land in our country, yet they are only a few percent of the population, which shouldn't even be their period. But we allow them to be here, but they still have to share the land according to population. But anyway, you know, that's what's going on there. But nothing can happen in Africa or elsewhere. They are watching us because there's a superpower here in place, which is called America. And they have their foot on their necks, and sometimes they do use us as even soldiers for their cause. You know, so Africa is watching us. The whole world is watching us, because when we rise up, America naturally goes down, and then other places can really do what they want to do. There are a lot of revolutionary thinkers in Africa, but they're scared to make moves because they're scared of the beast. As the Bible says, who will make war with the beast? People even scared to flinch, even do something. Like we are here, we are scared to make the wrong moves for freedom because we think the beast's going to crush it. When we talk about Black Independence Day, people say, oh, white man not going to let you be independent. Well, we didn't come for what the white man lets us do. If you're a revolutionary, you don't do what the enemy lets you do. You do what you have a right to do. And we have a right to govern ourselves. Just like the principles of this country were founded upon the right to govern yourselves. George Washington and his comrades were treated unfairly. They said, look, why should we continue to be treated unfairly, and we just boycott and rally and having Boston tea parties and going off and protesting and petitioning, when we have a human right and an alienable right to govern ourselves, to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And if the government of the British can't give it to us, since we the ones on this land, we have a right to govern ourselves. So in the move of George Washington, which I consider one of the only, him and his comrades, the only successful revolutionary move in America, we do the same thing here on July the 4th, Independence Day. That's when we're having our event here, Black Independence Day. We got to throw off a government that has tyranny over us, that is oppressing us. The police, instead of protecting and serving, they're murdering us. We always been in poverty since day one. They say we were free from the plantation. We went to the gates of the plantation, had nowhere to go, no land, nothing to start on our own, except to turn right back around and submit to the same system. Now we got so-called jobs. We are wage slaves now. And we're still under tyranny. We're still under oppression. They can shoot my daughter down today and we do nothing about it. They can shoot your daughter, your son, whoever, and we do nothing about it but march for a couple of days. All that is over with. Like the Constitution itself, so many state constitutions say the same thing. Political power is inherent in the people. Power to the people is not just a saying from the Black Power days in the 60s and 70s. Power to the people is ingrained in American law. It's the principle of America itself. That's George Washington's slogan. That's Thomas Jefferson's slogan. A people cannot be governed if they don't want to be governed by a certain class. You elect your government, and you can also de-elect, I call your government, and take them out of power. That's inherent in the people. But we never exercise that right to say, look, let's alter or abolish the government, which is our right. Instead, we want to, if they shoot my daughter or shoot your son or shoot somebody, we just want to march and beg them for justice. Give me justice. No justice, no peace. We beg them, look, please charge this man. No. Power is to the people. People are the courts. When you go to court, it says the people versus. So we can set up our own courts and say, nah, that officer that shot Mike Brown is guilty. Bring him here. Power to the people. Same way we can say, look, this government is not for our safety and benefit and happiness, so we're going to alter or we're going to abolish it and establish one of our own. These are our rights. This is not no revolutionary overthrow violating the principles of America. These are the principles of America. So that's the right we got to practice. Not a right to vote, not a right to sit on the toilet with white folks, but a right to determine ourselves, a right to govern ourselves. And we don't have to go buy some land somewhere else that we can't afford. We can control the cities that we live in. If you occupy, if you are in a major black city, you occupy that city, you have a right to throw off the government lawfully, not get guns and start shooting mayors and city councilmen. Power is to the people. Rally the people together and say, look, do you consent? Do you want consent to officers killing you? Do you consent to poverty they have us in? Do you consent to being under that tyranny? Or do you want to govern yourselves? Do you want to police yourselves? You have a right to do that. We don't have to beg for that. Gather the people, then you act it out. Why are we begging for mercy? Why are we hands up, don't shoot? They should be the ones saying hands up, don't shoot. Because we have the power to shoot them back if they shoot us. That's our right. But yet we still submit ourselves to them. But power is to the people. Political power is to the people. But we submit our will. As a Muslim, we say we submit our will only to God. But no, we're not. Even the Muslims, we're not Muslims. We're not submitting our will to God. We have submitted our will to the authority. We have submitted our will to the white man. But power is to the people, so we're going to take our will back. My will did not belong to them. We can rightfully do that. Everybody who's listening, read your state constitution. Go to the Bill of Rights of your state constitution. It says political power is inherent in the people. The people have a right to regulate the government and the police thereof. And if you don't agree with the police and government, you have a right to alter or abolish it. And we're going to exercise that right here in Detroit. We're going to be pussyfooting around. Take the foot around you. That's what you are if you don't do this. We got to do something real today. You know, so I came to that conclusion before I came back to America and said, look, we're going to launch black independence. And we're going to start in Detroit. It's not just black independence for Detroit. It starts in Detroit. Detroit is like the Jerusalem of Jesus' days. It was the capital city. It was once the main industry. But now it's desolate. But the infrastructure is in place for a new nation for black people. And the people are dissatisfied. You have tens of thousands, some saying hundreds of thousands of empty houses, but you got 40,000 people living on the streets. You got probably 80% of the population functionally homeless. But the houses of that city belong to the people. So now the people, as part of our independence, we're going to take these houses and give them to the people. It's like it says in the Bible about Jerusalem. The church, when the Messiah comes, you'll get the empty houses, the empty mansions of Jerusalem. These empty mansions are yours. The whole city is yours. The police department is yours. Everything is yours. It don't belong to the officials that you elect. Recall to fire those officials and put somebody else in place. We've been pour out water as poison right here where I sit. They say 1 out of every 7 children right here in this little small part that I sit in Detroit called Highland Park is poison just like the Flint water with lead. What are they doing about that? Well, why do we have to beg them to fix our water system? They're not going to fix our water system. We'll take over the government ourselves lawfully now. To them agents listening, Agent Brandon Erkman, who detained me a couple of months ago, I know you listened to this video or we listen to this radio show. Lawfully, we will overthrow. That's our constitutional right. That's our human right. We're going to govern ourselves. So that's what's going on here in Detroit, July the 4th. But anyway, that's a situation that's here that will also guide the brothers in Africa that you was talking about and help them to grow some. Go ahead.
You have gone to Africa and many other nations. And what landed you in Detroit this time around? Fight for freedom and independence on the ground in Detroit.
That's a very good question. What landed me in Detroit? Because I'm not even a native of Detroit, and I particularly didn't like Detroit because of the weather of Detroit. I'm from the South where it's warm at. But I just prayed and fasted when I came back to America. Where do I go? So angels in the form of people kept whispering, just said, ask me, have you ever been to Detroit? Some of them were not suggesting I go to Detroit. They're just asking about Detroit. You heard what's going on in Detroit? Then it came to me one night, look, Detroit is that place to go. Reading the scriptures and studying it, said, look, it's a perfect place for nationhood. You have a city that once can house a couple to 2 or 3 million people, but there's only a few hundred or several 100,000 people left in the city. A city where industries are empty. Hundreds of thousands of properties, even up to 1 million properties are empty in Detroit. A perfect place for infrastructure. And also the population are 100% dissatisfied. And like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, dissatisfaction creates change. 100% dissatisfaction creates 100% change. And there's no place where people are more dissatisfied than Detroit. In one summer alone, they evicted 100,000 people in one summer alone. Over 100,000 people have had their water shut off in this city. So you say these people not ready for a change? When I landed in Atlanta, but Atlanta is a little bit too comfortable right now. They think they got it going on here, but here it's 100% dissatisfaction. And then once we prove our dissatisfaction and prove our right to govern and exercise our right to govern ourselves, then people else will rise up. So this is not just for Detroit. Detroit is just a beacon for everybody else, and that's why these agents are following me everywhere I go. Because they know that it can happen elsewhere. This can be a domino effect. Just like the Arab Spring, when one city jumped off, it jumped off in the whole city, then country by country fell. So that's what led me to Detroit, brother. I'm not really from Detroit, but the spirit of God, revolution, and rationale led me to Detroit.
So you're fighting for revolution everywhere you go. And everywhere you look, you're looking for the fight and showing others how to engage the opposition.
Yes, sir. I meant
Correct. Summation of some of what you're doing. Yes, sir. And engaging the opposition. The fight as a black freedom fighter, a world traveler, a black freedom fighter.
Yeah.
For justice, and we've met on several occasions, and always been a pleasure and open to have you with us in Atlanta on June 22nd and June 23rd for our Black Power Summit in Atlanta, Georgia. And all the comrades will be there. We'll be doing a lot of restructuring, reorganization in Atlanta.
Oh, I'm definitely there. You know, Brother Hashim, Minister General Hashim, leader of the New Black Panther Party, is a close comrade of mine. So wherever he calls me, needs me there, I'm there. You know, so that's a must. We will be down in Atlanta for the Black Power. I'm there. I'm there. I'm there, Chief of Staff. I'm there. I'm there.
You're always a big help man when we do troops together or just play listening with them. Just sure not having a snack. You're always an inspiration and a great help to all comrades, man. But we never want you to feel that your presence is unwanted. But you want it in the right way when you come down to New Black Panther Party for self-defense. And we do the work and put in the good effort. Look for the results. And with a guy like Brother Compton, perhaps on board, we always have a successful mission. And we move out in that order of strength. And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is a powerful time that we're in, where you got forces like that coming together. Of course, a big shout out to the Honorable Salis Muhammad and the Lost Found Nation of Islam. I've always been an adorer of the Honorable Salis Muhammad. Matter of fact, I joined his mosque. That's where I received my FOI training right there in Atlanta with the Honorable Salis Muhammad. He's always been a practical man. He wasn't about show or nothing like that. He's doing things that were practical and trying to establish nationhood. Because it's beyond rhetoric. It's beyond showmanship in this thing. We got to actually do practical things and merge forces to make something happen. It's nation time. It's nation time. It's nation time. It's nation time. Anything else, it's just not going to suit us now. It's not going to soothe us now. We done been to the top. Now is the perfect time. We done been to the top of the political sphere. We still got people trying to run for office. They think they can make a change at being a congressman, make a change at being a senator, a mayor, and things like this. Look, we couldn't make a change when we were president. We had a black man as president. And this was whether you know it or not, that man was a nationalist at heart. But he knew in that position, once you're in this government, you can't do anything against it. You can't do anything for your people. You only can walk the line that it has been designed for you to walk. And that walk is a walk of being an oppressor, of being a modern day Pharaoh. So our brother Obama had to sit in the Pharaoh seat and do what a Pharaoh does. So now those things like that are proven to us that, look, we are integrated back in the 60s. That failed. We started getting public office. That all the way up to the president, that failed. We getting money. Everybody want to get money then. Let's get money. Do it for self. Getting money has failed. Let me tell you one thing, people. Economics is like this. Economics is like a rubber glove on your hand. That rubber glove is this system, and the real economic power. Your little hand is your little economic power. The bigger you get, that rubber glove grows with you and still has you enveloped. So you have to get economics within your own system. So getting money in his system, the bigger you get, the bigger he gets. LeBron James, somebody make $5 billion a year. That owner making $100 billion a year. So economics is not the key. If you want to open up some stores, okay, you got $1 million distribution of different products in your store even per day. Guess what? The person who really controls the distribution, really controls the transportation of that and the manufacturing, he's getting 100 times more than you. No, so the bigger we grow economically in their system, the bigger our enemy who has us in his belly grows. So that's not going to solve our problem. The only thing that can solve our problem is self-government. We have to govern ourselves. And they give us that right. Read your state constitution. Everybody who's listening to this show, go Google whatever state you're from, constitution, and look at it. The first article in its Bill of Rights usually would say, all political power is inherent in the people. You have a right, and if the government is not soothing you for safety and happiness, you have a right to alter or abolish it. Exercise that right, people. That's all we're saying. You have a right to govern yourself. You don't have to submit to them. We have to cry, hey man, they shot somebody. Please do something with this officer. No. You're fired, officer. You're fired, mayor. You're fired, governor. Trump, you're fired. So that's what we're going to exercise. So the only solution is, like I said, the only solution is revolution, but the only successful revolution is a revolution to govern self. Like Malcolm said, not no Negro revolution where we want to be sitting next to white people. We want to be integrated with white people. A revolution is always over territory and self-government. So if you're a real revolutionary, you want to govern yourself over your own territory. So that's what it's about. And that's what these people mentioned, that you mentioned, are about. Salis Muhammad is about self-government, the Afro-descendant nation. Dr. Ansari, Mustafa Ansari, is about self-determination. He's working with us as well. Him and his team is about 8 lawyers, human rights, and up to the highest level. And then the Black Panther Party. Black Panther Party is known for boots on the ground. Ever since the first Black Panther Party, boots on the ground. That's what I love about the new Black Panther Party. Boots on the ground. Action being taken. Not behind no microphone or anything. On the ground with what we got. I think the Black Panther Party, if they only had rocks, they would throw rocks. And we have to be like that. It's like the Palestinians. They know that they can't probably defeat the Israelis, but they can't just sit there and let them rule over them. If they have to throw rocks, they throw rocks at tanks. You got to take some kind of action and be a man. So I die a man throwing a rock at a tank before I die a coward sitting somewhere in a Mercedes-Benz driving around getting money and being a politician. We got to rule ourselves, govern ourselves. Get free, get political control, or die trying. I show you. Amen.
That's right.
You know, so, you know, I'm feeling good today by being here with your brother Akbar, man. We done been through thick and thin, but we gonna make it. This is a powerful year for us. I like that scripture in the Bible. It says, you know, this is the year of the Lord. So we determine the year. The people determine the year. We don't wait for no mystery to say, look, you're going to be free this year, people, or next year, 10 years from now, or whenever God decides it. Jesus said God is within. The kingdom of God is within. When you decide to be free, you can be free. And now the white man can even use an excuse by saying, look, who told y'all y'all couldn't be free? I put in every state constitution. I put in the founding principles of this country called United States. I said if you don't like what we're doing, you can rise up and govern yourselves. But nah, you want to rise up in massive numbers and march. You want to rise up in massive numbers and protest. You want to rise up in massive numbers and ask for justice. No, we're not going to ask for justice. We're not going to ask for mercy. That's like asking for cool air from a fire. This man has no mercy in him, so what you asking for mercy from? You know that he has no mercy in him. In his 6,000 year point to history, point to one time the white man has had mercy. Never. You can't point to that. So why do we expect him after 6,000 years to finally have mercy for some niggas? To have mercy after he done blew a little girl's brains out like he did 7-year-old Ayanna Jones, blew her brains out here in Detroit while she was asleep in the middle of the night. And the same officer that did that has a promotion, walk around free today. All we can do is beg, fire him. No. We firing the whole city. And that officer better run for his life once we take control of this city. And every other officer that killed innocent people. That's the power we have. We don't have to beg for mercy. Power is to the people. We're going to exercise that slogan, man. George Washington exercised that slogan. Thomas Jefferson exercised that slogan. Are you saying George Washington, with his tight-wearing self, wig-wearing self, and his comrades are more rational than us? More braver than us? Nah. George Washington's not braver than me. He's not more rational than me. And I'm using my rationale by saying petitioning is not going to work. Protesting is not going to work. Marching is not going to work. Begging is not going to work. That's the rationale George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and them had. They said that's not going to work. We're going to exercise our right to govern ourselves and give ourselves justice. And since we're revolutionary, matter of fact, George Washington, he wasn't Minister George Washington. He was what? General George Washington. Just like the Bible says in the prophecy times in the Bible, it calls God the Lord of hosts. You know what hosts mean? They try to hide with the word host. Hosts mean armies. Lord of armies. Why? Because God works with those who stand up like soldiers. Not those who hide behind microphones, hide behind so forth and so on, picket signs and so forth. He works with those who stand up and say, look, we're going to take control of this and what we have a right to do. So in the name of George Washington, we're going to do the same thing on July the 4th. Black Independence Day in Detroit.
Black power. Black power. As you're saying, the black soldier has always been the most truest and the most feared soldier on the battlefield. The most dangerous soldier on the battlefield has always been that black soldier. That black man had stratagems of war.
Exactly. Wasn't it a black man that first one that died in the Revolutionary War, was it? Crispus Attucks?
He was shot first.
Yeah.
Attucks, the first one on the record, died in that revolution. When the cracker named Panther said, freedom or death, or give me liberty or give me death. Oh, yeah. They started shooting back at the bloody Britain. Because at first, these 13 colonies have Baker's Rebellion and Boston Peabody, warned to strike against sugar, spice, tax on tea, and tax on meat. When they said tax on meat, the African black plantation slaves, that's when they started shooting back. Old Paul Revere's riding up, they shot back to maintain slavery. Most of the bloody Brits that began a process to abolish a certain form of slavery in Britain. But right here in America, they wanted to hold those slaves, 13 colonies. What else when they did taxation on the black African plantation slaves? Oh yes, you get to shoot black and bloody up the old Brit.
You see that?
You're gonna find there no sharpshooters, no name is no sharpshooters.
So we've been dying from day one of the establishment of this country for something we haven't enjoyed. They said life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in 1776 in the Declaration of Independence. You have a right to alter and abolish government if you don't feel safe and happy. And at the same time, we want those plantations. They say George Washington had over 300 slaves, but he stood up for those principles. So on that same day, we're going to stand up for the same principles that this country was founded upon, but yet we were denied those same principles. We have a right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. We have a right to alter or abolish and establish our own government. So we're going to do the same thing on his day, July the 4th, which is our day. It's a little bit, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but July the 4th is actually an astrological day that the black scientists chose. You know, black scientists know about the day and studied and put forth the science of that day on July the 4th. But we'll get into that at another time. But so on his day, on that day that they established for the independence of America, that is their judgment as well. I call it Judgment Day, not just Independence Day, Judgment Day, because they judge themselves. When they said they have a right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, they have a right to alter or abolish a government that is not treating them right. At the same time, they were saying that black people, all men have the right. But at that time, they didn't consider us men. But now we know we're men, and we're going to use the same right that they used to establish this country to break free from this oppressive country. And we have that right, and we're going to benefit ourselves also. We're going to give ourselves reparations. We have a right to remedy also, as the Human Rights Charter says. We don't have to beg them to give us reparations. When Obama was president, his first year of presidency, they did what? House Resolution 194, where they apologized for slavery. So they already sat on the seat and admitted their guilt. So why are we still begging them for some reparations? Let's put ourselves together in citizens tribunals, citizens courts, because they say the people versus anyway. So if the people versus when you go to court, let's set up a court really of the people and versus them, and we have already found them guilty because they already signed themselves as being guilty, and let's take what they owe us. That's our right. That's not a violation. We're not going looting stores like they do doing. And I cheer the people who loot these stores. They don't belong to us anyway. We don't got to loot no stores. And look, I'm going to seize that store. What bank is that? I'm going to seize what that bank owns. That bank was part of the slavery system. That bank financed slavery. So the property of that bank, if it's near me, I'm seizing it because he owes it to me, and I have a right to seize that. Like the Jews, what we're going to talk about later. The Jews seized property of Germans who violated them. The United States helped them seize property. Anybody, even to this day, if countries are found in violation of their citizens, they seize their money. They seize billions of Iran's dollars that were going through their accounts. So we're going to find them guilty as citizens, and we're going to seize what we have a right to. That's our reparations, because the enemy is not going to give us no reparations. We can be going begging the United Nations forever. And I've been to the United Nations. But the United Nations already give you mandate to get your reparations yourself. That's the mandate from the United Nations. The United Nations is not going to send no troops out for you. You are mandated to be your own troops.
That's right. That old wooden back in Washington, he had a whole plantation called Mount Vernon, and he had the slaves were all loyal to this cracker. One cracker had all these big clothes loyal there. If we get just a portion of that loyalty to ourselves, we'll be independent. Operate for free from the opposition. Very short time. Use some of that loyalty to ourselves.
I mean, to this day, you're right, brother. But look at that. 300-something slaves loyal to a master. But see, that's all they knew, brother Akbar. They said, okay, all we know is slavery. Our slave master here might treat us a little bit better than the next, so that's good. You know, they didn't know freedom, so they thought a little bit of better treatment inside slavery was good enough. But I'm going to quote Martin Luther King. I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. Meaning that I've been to other countries where blacks were ruling, where blacks overthrew white people, and they ruled and they were living how they supposed to be living. So I've seen that mountaintop. I've been to that promised land. That promised land is a promised government of self, to give yourself justice. So I've seen that. I sat in the offices of those people who ran those countries. So I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. I'm not selling for no Negro revolution. I'm not selling for some mayorship, congressman, or a president that can't do nothing. I will only settle to see us governing ourselves. That's all any of us should settle for. But I know many people listening, all you know is being ruled by white people. You don't know self-government. You never been to an office of somebody governing themselves. You never been to a country where black people govern themselves, where black people control the industries, black people control the military. You used to white generals. You used to watching Tour of Duty. You used to watching these movies of white generals sitting here yelling down the necks of black people ruling this country. And you used to seeing that on a daily basis. If you're in the military, you used to being under the rule of white folks. But I've seen black militaries where there were nothing but black people in it. So we shouldn't settle for anything less than having our own black military. We have the Nation of Islam, the Fruit of Islam, a military. We have the new Black Panther Party of Self-Defense, black military. We have other militant groups out there. It's a black military. So it's time to form those groups into an actual military and say, look, we're going to govern ourselves. We're going to take it from here. We realize that you will not treat us right. You're not going to treat us right. You can't treat us right. It's not in your nature to treat us right. It's not in your nature to treat yourself right. That's why you went to war with yourself. So since we acknowledge that, we're going to govern ourselves. And we're going to start here. Here in Detroit, July the 4th, we definitely pushing for that. We're on the streets day in and day out, and we will see that through. And our comrades here with me, the bad witness, we're on the streets daily pushing that. Go ahead, sir.
Another one coming from another part of Texas, also. Another one that came on in from the section of Petersburg in Virginia, and right here in Washington. That all of them are talking black independence. When we brought them all together to the convention, they made a declaration. The ones from Encopa, big organization that are talking about black freedom. They want to separate from this fact. And then y'all had to wire to all of somebody want to build on that enterprise. Build on Pocahontas. We're going to be there on September the 3rd, right in the Pocahontas in Petersburg, Richmond, and Petersburg, Virginia. And we're going to take some of that land for ourselves. Some going to be growing crops. Others going to be building businesses. Some going to be building homes and condos. All kind of businesses that were down, beloved. So I'm getting on them in this stuff. They don't want them to get up in the morning and look over the geographic and try to take what you got, try to set you up, and eventually try to kill you to keep what you got. You understand? We are working now independently away from the devil, getting away from him. Because the other lies was telling us, even if it's right here, we got to have some place for ourselves. So we can go free for ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Even if it's here.
Oh, yes, sir.
Even if it's here, but most want get on when you get South Africa place. Get on with him somewhere. It's a better place. And you got drops. You ain't got the farmers back to New Orleans below sea level, at sea level, and below sea level. He said place, but it don't have to be below sea level, brother. Don't rush back to a place that you know couldn't have a flood again.
Yes, sir.
It's not common. It's usual. It's that certificate for facility sometimes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, please don't go back to New Orleans. That New Orleans, that's a sitting trap for our people. But also I like to shout out, man, to you all for what you all did in D.C. I was a big shout out to Chairman Hashim Nzinga and Malik, who birthed the idea and headed that mission in D.C. at the 10,000 Men's March and 10,000 and the convention in D.C. because that's a major convention that put self-determination, self-government, and independence on the forefront. You know, there should have been 2 billion people there. You know, that event that was premier because I like the fact that it brought groups together to discuss something real, self-determination, something that every group has it in their mission statement. Most of these groups' mission statement is self-determination, governing ourselves. Most of us call ourselves nation, but yet we don't discuss self-determination, governing our independence. We discuss voting for this official, voting for that official, begging for justice, this and that. No, let's govern ourselves. So shout out to Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz for bringing those powerful people like Silas Muhammad, Dr. Ansari, and Cobra them to the table together to organize so that we're going to move forward. And I'm working with them as well. It's a confederation going on so that we can really push the agenda for self-determination. That's our final step in our struggle here, and it will be reached. That's our destiny. You know, everything in nature goes towards perfection. You know, what's not perfect falls to the side. So things that weren't perfect in our actions, they fell to the side. It didn't succeed. It got us a little here and there, but it didn't succeed, so it fell to the side. So now, as we climb that mountain towards perfection, the top of the pyramid of perfection, any nation will tell you that I've been to, the top of that pyramid of perfection as far as justice, peace for yourself, is governing yourself. Because only you can give you justice. A government of snakes can't give mice justice. Only a government of mice can give mice justice. The snakes are only going to swallow the mice. A government of lions can't give deer justice. Only deers can give deers justice. So same thing with this snake, 6,000 year snake we've been facing, called the European, white man, Caucasian, whatever you want to call him. He can't give us justice. So the pyramid, top of the pyramid for us, along that pyramid, we tried to be just, to receive justice and beg for justice from him. But now we got to get to the top of the pyramid and say, look, we're going to rule ourselves. And once we get there and see how rulership of self was the only way, we'll look down at the bottom of the pyramid and say, wow, we finally reached the apex. If we only knew that it was like this, we would have never tried those things. But part of evolution and perfection, when you're building a model car, whatever kind of model, whatever you're developing, project you're developing, you're going to throw things to the side because it's not perfect. You're going to go to the next one. Then you finally get it right. So now we finally got to that point where that movement, it was a little flaw there. That action was a little flaw there. Integration was a little flaw there. Getting involved in politics, that was a little flaw there. This was a little flaw there. Now perfection, self-government. Same thing that the founding fathers of America realized. They got to that apex. They realized, hey, the apex of our receiving justice and living happy and having life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is to govern ourselves. That's the apex. So they put forth to the most powerful nation in the world, the British. Back then they said the sun never sets on the British Empire. British ruled everything. They ruled America, they ruled Asia, India, Africa. Heck, the North Pole probably has some flags up there. They ruled the whole world. But yet here these guys go say, look, man, we got to take them on and stand up. Powers to the people. So now we stand up again and say, look, powers to the people. Yes, even down there. Way down in Argentina. And I think they still fighting for some property in Argentina to this day. There's some island or something down in Argentina they're still fighting about.
The islands, everything. Just got all the cars, all the islands, all the roads, all the wines. But let me ask you, brother, do I hear you saying, Brother Ramzu, that this cracker will fail to yield justice because it's not within his nature to yield justice. He couldn't, if he wanted it. His nature won't even allow.
His nature won't allow him. They won't allow. So why we ask him? You know, as we say in Islam, Allah, we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Allah, God is merciful. There's no God in this man. As the Bible says, you are of your father, the devil. He was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. That's what he does. He lies and he murders from day one to his last day. He's going to lie and he's going to murder. What are we going to expect from this man besides lying and murdering? Man, you a fool if you think otherwise. He's been getting beat up since day one and murdered since day one. Yeah, we're going to think this 6,000 year murder going to have some mercy. But he's of his father. If you of your father, you only can be what your father was, a liar and a murderer. And to this day, they're lying and they're murdering. Look what they do all over the world. They lie. They murder. To this day, award murders. We have babies getting killed by their police, supposed to be here to serve and protect, and they award them. And here, man, right here in Detroit, the officer that killed that little girl, Ayanna Jones, has a promotion, getting paid more for killing our little girl. You think we're going to stand here and just say, look, and everything's hunky-dory and go about our business and wait for him to kill the next little girl? It could be your girl next. It could be my daughter next, his daughter next. We're going to wait for that, then we're going to rally again behind that, or we're going to stop it right now. Nah, no more pussyfooting around. As I said before, remove the foot, and if you do it, that's what you is. If you don't do something. So we ain't pussyfooting around no more. We're going to take some real action. If we have to die trying, we'll die trying. But we have a right to do this. They gave us this right. At the end of the day, the white man can sit back and say, look, I told y'all in your own constitution you had a right to govern yourselves. You don't want to let us rule over you. As the Quran says, look, I had no, the devil says in the Quran, as the story says, I had no power over you. You gave power to me. Same thing we doing. We giving power to this devil. He told us in his own law book, he has no power over us. Just stand up and govern yourself. So if you're not for us and doing what you're against us. If you're not for powers to the people. So if you're not with the people trying to establish self-government where you can give yourself justice, then you're against that. If you're not voting against the American government, against this oppressive government, if you're not voting against it, you're voting for it. There's no such thing as, I don't vote. Now, if you don't vote against it, then you're voting for it, because this is a democracy, powers to the people. So if 5,000 people only stand up in a city of 100,000 people, those 100,000 that sat down now against are not enemies of the 5,000 that stand up. So those who are listening, if you don't stand up for self-determination, then you are against our rise. Go ahead, brother.
That's right. That's right. That's determination, self-determination, brother. That's wonderful. I want you to give your information. I have in the wing our beloved brother, National General Minister, Hashem Recognized Singer. I wanted you to greet him before leaving. But please give me your information, your website, and your phone number, sir, whatever you have out there, information-wise. Give it up so that the listening audience can contact you, support you in Detroit and wherever they come from.
Okay, well, and of course I'm always, well, not always available, but I'm on Facebook. Our website, we have a website for the people here. It's not really for the listening audience here that wouldn't be interested. We have the Detroit Free Housing Program. We have the Human Rights Policy, the humanrightspolicy.info. We got DetroitFreeHousing.info. Nation Time site is down. Black Independent site, because I found out that appealing to our revolutionary brothers can be a waste of time. You know, so I put down those sites, stop appealing to them. I'm not even active on Facebook that much now, but I'm active on Facebook, but it's other pages that the listening audience may not know about, because I'm appealing to the poor people who are not conscious, you know, but they just want a better life for themselves, and so they are willing to do what's necessary. But on Facebook you can get at me there. Ramzu, my name Ramzu Yunus. Otherwise, we on humanrightspolicy.info. And humanrightspolicy.info and Detroit Free Housing, DetroitFreeHomes.info. But really, we just in the streets. We're not on a website. We're not anywhere. We in the streets amongst the poor people. You know, we don't have a church, you know, or organization building. We're like Jesus himself. Him and the poor righteous disciples. They didn't have he didn't even have a place to lay his head. But they didn't have a organizational building to invite the masses to. We just inviting the masses to gather and take power. Then we will have a seat of rulership after that. Otherwise, we deserve really to be sleeping outdoors until we get that. But you can reach me on that, and my email address is ramzuy@gmail, ramzuy@gmail.com, ramzuy@gmail.com. Otherwise, Ramzu Yunus on Facebook.
That's wonderful. And I want to bring to the airways right now, just before you leave the airways, I wanted the brother to greet you. We are welcome to our airways, our national and general minister, Hashem Recognized Singer. Assalamu alaikum and Black Power.
Peace, Black Power.
Black Power. Black Power. Black Power. Well, I think if it's the first half, we don't need no halftime. Halftime, the players might cool off. They might stop hitting these 3 points.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say to my true brother, Ramzu, that a world traveler, visionary, fearless, and understand this hour. We are a people, as he has talked about for this first hour, that are defeated and conquered because we're the only people on earth, Brother Akbar and Brother Ramzu, as we well know, the black man created the stoplight. Yes, sir. He told us the definition of the stoplight. He said, when it's red, you stop. When it's yellow, you yield. And when it's green, you go. We're the only people on earth that stop at a green light. The whole world is moving at Dr. King said with jet-like speed. And we refuse to understand what Dr. King said in 1967 from the Birmingham jail, that we still want to move at the pace, or the world wants us to move at the pace of a horse and buggy. Malcolm said he didn't get mad when chicken come home to roost. So the listeners and the spies and the white man shouldn't get mad at Brother Ramzu for talking independence, because they the one taught us how you get independence. And they damn sure didn't do it with no ink pen and piece of paper. I want to thank Ramzu for coming on. He's always welcome to Black Power Radio, and we're going to be down there to support him in Detroit, Michigan, and bring in the force of good our way. Yes, sir.
Black Power.
Black Power. Black Power. Thank you, Brother Ramzu, for joining us, sir.
All right, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Black Power, everybody. Thanks for having me on. Shout out to the general, chairman of the new Black Panther Party, Hashim Nzinga, who when the feds detained me a couple months ago, he was the one who sprung me from the detainment. So we've been down for a long time. So shout out to him and thanks for that. Thanks, Brother Akbar, for holding the show down and holding a lot of things down. I look forward to being down there in June and joining along with my comrades, and let's make it happen. And y'all just send y'all prayers as well with us, y'all energies, vibrations, whatever the people, the listening audience want to call it. We need it here. We need your energy with us as we march forward to make this thing happen. And give us liberty or give us death. And on that, we'll sign out on Black Power. All power to the people.
Black Power.
Black Power.
Black Power.
Black Power.
Walaikum salam. Black Power, Black Power. How's that show, Coach?
Yeah.
To the God.
Straight.
Anyway, forgot we're still on the air. Yeah. We're gonna close out. I just wanted to videotape that so y'all can hear the show. We're gonna start doing a lot of videos just to the public. Cause we know you rather watch a video. You rather watch a 30-minute long video than read a 3-minute long post. That's just our people. But I understand the nature of everything. But this situation is very serious here, and the brothers you see here with me, these are not no light brothers that you're watching. These are heavyweights themselves. These are scholars and themselves. But most of all, scholarship is really not needed. Heart is needed. These brothers have heart above scholarship. I have heart above scholarship. Of course, the scholarship can help guide my heart, but I just know that we got to be free. I know we have a right to determine our own course. These brothers know the same thing. They were already on this tip. That's what brought us together to fight for this initiative that we're pushing. And it's not a light cause. This is the cause of the the future of our people. We're going to set that course here in Detroit, and we're asking for any of those who want to, you come and help, but we're not begging for any help. Like I said on the close out of the show, I took Nation Time website down. I took those sites down because trying to get the involvement of the masses, of those who are conscious, who already know everything, who already have a solution, is a waste of time for us. We rather waste our time in the streets like these brothers. We're in the streets daily with the people whose name is not Ma'at, their names are not Muhammad, their name is Man and Mookie. That's their names. And but these people, they don't know everything. They just know that they do have rights. They know that they are being oppressed. They know that they're not being treated fairly and that they should be living better than they're living. And so we're going to offer that to our people. I like what Jesus said. He said, I came that people may have life in abundance. He didn't say, I came that people may die and go to heaven. He said, I want you to have life in abundance right now. And so that's what we're trying to offer. We're going to bring to the people life in abundance. All these empty houses and so forth in Detroit. We're going to bring that to the people who are 80% or so functionally homeless, meaning you're staying somewhere, but it's not your own house. And then they have almost 40,000 people that's literally homeless out in the streets and stuff. How is that deservingly for a people who have suffered the way we've suffered, whose parents have been enslaved and built the most wealthiest and powerful country in this world? Inheritance is a right of nature, so we have a right. So we have a right to inherit something from our parents, but we inherited nothing but slavery, nothing but suffering, continued suffering, nothing but oppression, nothing but poverty. And so we're going to take our people out of that. We're going to leverage the city's assets and give the people grants. These are not fairy tales. Don't be laughing at what we're saying. These are things we are going to do. So I thank these brothers for being here. They have many things to do. We're pushing this program at the same time, trying to feed our families and do everything else. But we just wanted to shout out to everybody, record the show, and let everybody know that we are standing here in Detroit. You're welcome to join us. You're welcome to support us through your thoughts, prayers, whatever you want to call it. And whatever, just stay watching. Just watch, what's going on. And once you'll know when the time is right for you to do something, wherever you're at. And with that, we're going to sign out. It's been a long day. It's Ramadan. I finally get to eat a little something or drink a smoothie or something. But that's not why.